Alright, so as you can see here, quite a bit of work has been done for this perimeter. Something we've actually never done before here is these smooth walls, trenches here. What we had, as you can see at the bottom here, there's still some anvils that we did not clear out, but we actually did use a trenchless Nether world eater. I was not a part of this because I came home and the anvil walls were already in, and then obviously the world eater was running. So I did not get to experience this for myself, but from what I've heard from Dives and everything like that, it was such a smooth experience that we probably will do it for the rest of ours. Granted, that was if we do any more other perimeters, but we of course probably will at some point. So that perimeter is fully done. We have these smooth walls, which is something we never really did before. And of course, the whole top was tunnel bored out, which we did on our live stream. So I went across the whole perimeter in one live stream. That was about 4 hours, I believe. That's including building the world eater, I think it was. It might have been about 5, including building the world eater, which isn't too bad at all. But I guess now we're doing decoration, of course, too. And then we're also, as you can see on the top here, working on the bedrock break-in. The first layer is underway, and Dazi already has the next piston placer already built up, along with the bedrock. Dazi has pretty much everything already good to go, besides that side of the bedrock break right there. Yep. So this is the new 2 block on every single side overhead for this world eater here, which is just crazy to think about, because that means only for 5 layers there's only 8 blocks of overhead on every single side, all 4 sides of the bedrock breaker, which is crazy to think about. Because if you go over here, the first bedrock breaking project I did on this world probably was around about a little bit before the 6-month world tour, I think. It's about a year and a half ago. This was the overhead for the bedrock breakers. Look at this massive thing. This was just to break over a 2x2 chunk area. Look at this overhead. Like, this was probably about a year and a half ago. This overhead was 6 on one side, 3 on the other. I think it was about 20 something on both these sides. 22 blocks on the sides. So if you did this properly, I didn't rotate this. This was an older breaker, so if you wanted the best overhead, you needed to rotate it, which I did not do. So you can see this is all 333. So this overhead would be 18 on this short side, and I think this would also change over here. Let me make sure this is also 22. This is only 20, so if you would have rotated it, it would have been a little bit shorter for the overhead. But yeah, that's just crazy to think about, that this is how far the better pickers have come. And only to keep getting better and better until eventually we hopefully have a 0 overhead bedrock breaker, which would be the best thing ever in the world. Now, I don't care if that thing uses 4 pistons per bedrock, I would be using that bedrock breaker, because that's just absolutely crucial to break a full square bedrock with no overhead. That would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, so that's what we're doing now. This bedrock breaking project will probably take, I think it was like three or so days for everything like that, for the breaking the bedrock across the full perimeter size, the full perimeter scale. So that is, it's honestly a regular perimeter scale, so it's only 272, but that's still a pretty big way or distance to break the bedrock, which is around 400,000, I believe, including the overhead. So yeah. And you're probably asking, why are we not using a lossless bedrock breaker? Well, because in those current states, they do require lazy junks, and for me, if I was to be here right now, this one would not be working at all. We'd be losing pistons anyway. So, my personal opinion, for a single-player world, those lossless bedrock breakers are probably really, really huge and beneficial. For a server, when someone can accidentally load it and things like that, I honestly don't think it's the correct decision. But it is personal preference to stand, because this obviously is 400,000 pistons just for this perimeter. But that is, of course, all 5 layers. But still, that could be a lot of redstone to some people. Granted, now that we have Lazy Ray fully built up, it's not really an issue to us, because if we get all of that stuff, 75,000 per hour. So in just a few hours, we can actually make more pistons than this thing uses per hour. So I'm not really worried about this. So yeah, personal preference, like I said, at the end of the day, and it's all down to you. So back to the decoration here, you see we have another custom map art that I had from an artist here. So of course, as you can guess, what we're doing is the Blaze Farm perimeter. So of course we have the Blaze here. In the back, you can kind of see the Nether fortress there. Of course, it doesn't look the best in here, but we have voxel map back installed again, so we can actually see it from the map point of view here. And yeah, so that's the Blaze there. You can make it a little bit out better now. There's the fortress there. You got lava falls in the background, the lava floor, and then the nether rack or the nether terrain in the back there. Like I said, these map arts that we have look absolutely amazing, because obviously you can very quickly distinguish what's going to be there, because it's going to be a blaze. Obviously, this one's going to be a nightmare cube, this one's going to be a gold farm. These two, not so much, because they have a certain pattern, but this is the lazy raid that we have dug and circled out for. This is the hog moon, which we probably will update at some point. And then down here we have the bee ones that are very symbolized, because that's the shape that we dug them out in. And of course we have other ones, but these custom mob arts that I've gotten for all these perimeters that we've been doing recently really do make it theme around the mob very, very easily. Of course, it's just map art, but as you can see, just from a player point of view, you can really see the blaze from this one. This is also a smaller scale too, so yeah, we have these walls here. These are a slight adaptation for the walls that I did for the how to decorate perimeters. That was a video that I did publish on my channel as well. So what we got here is, I call it the fire fade, because it goes up and it's also the shape of, like, you know, the little flames of a fire. And what I did here is, because I had extended higher than the Patreon perimeter was, I just added an extra shade of each color. So we have 4 red, 4 orange, and then we'll have 4 yellow. There. You can see why I'm going to run the honey farms here. Is going to get all this honeycomb for this decoration here. But it does provide a nice clean fade, which you will see at the finished product once that is done, probably very, very soon, because these fade, takes a little bit to build up, but not as long as an actual detailed wall. We're going to do something a little bit different here and not actually put a ton of detail into these walls and just leave it like this fire fade. It's very simple, yes, but at the same time, it does provide a really, really nice clean aesthetic to our perimeters compared to the ones we've done before. Now, of course, we don't need to break the full bedrock roof here for this perimeter, but we are doing that anyways because the last block that we have for the decoration, so we'll go into this side here and load the schematic up into all layers. As you can see, it goes right to the top layer of the bedrock here, which will be broken down to right here. So everything inside of this perimeter will be completely broken exactly. So the last bedrock layer will be right here, and everything like that will be around it. So then probably what we'll do is we'll probably extend this out with some more decoration, probably the same pattern here. We'll probably use a mixture of these colors. From this distance, we'll probably have a gold block on the outer rim as well. And in the middle here, we'll have some random colors, or at least some of the red, orange, and yellow colors there. That way we can make sure it's like a little bit more cleaner on the top, because obviously all of these bedrock holes will be here on the outside. We'll just provide a little bit of a cleaner look once it's completely done. Well, yeah, it's a lot of work. Of course, it's going to build the actual farm once this is all done, but that will not be too bad. It's a very simple farm. It's by Ajvej. So we have a 94k blaze farm that we'll put in the center here. We have this, of course, in the area where a fortress was. I don't believe my bounding box is working as of right now, so we'll probably have to do that at a later date. I'll experiment with that, make sure it's all working. Of course, we need to get the actual bounding box inside a fortress, which shouldn't be hard to do, but we also want to make sure it's workable for us, like in the center of the perimeter. Ideally, if we can, I would like to have it around the bottom of the blaze face. Now, yes, it won't be center, but at the same time, it won't cover too much of the blaze face itself. Still provide the outside blaze on the outside there. We'll have that as well. We'll see how it works. We may cover the farm in like carpets, or we can actually get some of the same colors on top of there. We'll see what we can do. But of course, that will come with time once we actually get the farm all built up. So yeah, let's go finish the decoration off, and then we can actually start working on the farm once the bedrock is fully broken. Alright, so now we have the Blaze Farm perimeter that is completely done, all finished and everything like that. Deco is completely done. People do want us to kind of redo this bolt because it does overlap it. I really don't want to because I have to do 2 different turns, and I really can't be asked to do that. But if something else happens with the hub, we may end up doing that, but I can't see that happening anytime soon, because that would be a lot of bolts to sort of redo if you need to do an updated design, because look how many bolts we have right now. Every single one of those has 2 piston bolts, one to the destination and one back. So multiply however many you see here and times that by 2, and those mostly, once you go out into the distance, go out close to 1,000, 2,000, or sometimes even 3,000 blocks. So that is a lot of blocks to cover. However, we do have our actual project over here that we are working on at this point in time. We'll talk about things that happen in the future, but are not guaranteed to. But yeah, back to the perimeter over here. As you see, the full decoration is done. It really goes extremely well with the bedrock here, because it's, you know, exactly flat with the bedrock. With this new 2 overhead breaker, it's extremely even on every single side. There's only 8 blocks of overhead on either side, on all 4 sides of the perimeter, so it just slots in really, really nicely. And of course, you know, the map art looks amazing as well. Now, obviously, the farm will then cover over some of that, but I don't think we can do too much about that. Of course, it needs to be spawn proof and things like that, so we shall see. Might be hard to get some of those blocks on top of it, because obviously we use redstone blocks, you know, the Nylian concrete colors, so it won't look the best, but it'll still have most of the blaze because we go over top of it. The map view, you'll see that the blaze eyes and most of the face aren't really covered, so we're really only going to lose about this part here, which is still, you know, like the blaze being all the way around works quite well for us. So yeah, now we actually get to use this perimeter and make the farm that we want to use in here. This is, of course, Ajvej's farm, the 94k an hour, using the scaffolding. So I don't entirely know how that scaffolding thing works, but obviously we will only get blazes, and we are, of course, inside a nether fortress area. So we can have to use these nether bricks here. Because obviously if we're in the crossroads, you can use any blocks, but because we are just in the bigger bounded box for the fortress itself, all the spawning spots have to be nether bricks so that the nether fortress mobs will spawn, and we will only get blazes due to the scaffolding here. Of course, like any other farm, it's 2-dimensioned using the portal in the center here. And that will transport the blazes to the overworld, which we also did finish on this side here. This one took way longer than expected because, as you can see in the surrounding area, it was in an ocean. Basically, every single part of the trenches, besides that little spot over there, and this little one right here, was basically all in water. So that was not fun to do at all. The original plan was to actually speedrun this, but obviously that didn't happen because of all the water. And we did end up completely mining out all the trenches just to have those smooth walls, because we were already down to about use of the sand here, so we drained to pretty much. And then we just mined out all that, ran some sweepers, so you saw from the time lapse. And then obviously we're basically already at like below Y30, so I was like, might as well just mining out the bottom, because we're just gonna, you know, either blow up the sand walls or things like that. So just mine it out, which means I got the 7.1 million blocks mined just from those trenches, and I didn't even do all of the trenches myself. So yeah, lots of things that have happened since the last clip, but we will hopefully, obviously the farm will be done. We'll see if we get the overworld decoration done. We do have some time until the video needs to be out, so we shall see how far we get. So yeah, obviously I don't want to spoil all the deco, which you probably saw from the thumbnail anyway. We are going to be getting this done, hopefully, in this episode. So yeah, if we get the farm done first, obviously we're going to build the build chamber that I have set up for the blazes with the storage and things like that. We'll obviously build that up first, that way we can sort of maybe run the farm while we finish the overworld decoration side, and just stock up on those blaze rods, just to have that we have them if we ever need them. So yeah, let's get to that, and we will be back with either the blaze farm or some progress for the overworld side here. Alright, so the full nether side, overworld side, and everything is all fully done. As you can see now, we are actually testing the farm here. So this is, of course, Ajvej's farm here for the 94,000 blaze rods per hour. Now it's going to be a little bit difficult to find the actual spawning blazes because there is a bunch of layers in different sides. We've got one right here. You see them getting transported over and into the portal. Some of them actually occasionally almost walk into it, which is really, really good. So we're going to sit right here. We've got a couple right there, instantly transported into the overworld there, making use of the portals. So of course you can see right there, they will get transported right into the portal right there. And it alternates per side, of course, to spread out the lag, which is why you can see we're under 20 ms, even with me flying around in the Nether here, and not in a full render distance perimeter. This is, of course, only a regular size perimeter, just for the sake of the decoration and everything like that. So once even in the corner right here, get pushed all the way up into the portal and everything like that, so we get all of them there quickly as possible. So yeah, that's it. The Aurora side, the more interesting side, because obviously this farm is really interesting to look at, but at the same time, it's hard to see each individual blaze gain in process, whereas we go to the overworld side right here, you will see all of them coming through the portal right here. Now, I did do something a little bit different with the processing areas. Ajvej's one just has them dropping down into the kill chamber, where the player uses the armor student. As you can see, I need to fix something there, did not think ahead of this. But because of what the thing that I'm using to align them in a sense, not really working with everything I did here, so we're losing quite a bit of drops right now. I'm just running the farm right now to make sure everything else all working fundamentally, and then I will make the much needed changes for everything like that. So you can see it's not going to be 100% reliable. It's not really needed. This is just a visual glitch of them being, in a sense, in this block right here, and then they go up a little bit. The blaze is not actually there, which is why he's not moving. He's kind of just visually there for right now. I don't understand why. But yeah, make a little processing area just to kind of like fill the blazes around a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting. As you can see, it's not going to give you the maximum rates. Sort of just to have a little bit more different than just having them drop down. If you really care about the rates, I mean, this is only blaze rods, so we're not going to need 94,000 an hour that this farm actually produces. So what I recommend doing is just using Ajvej's included one with it, and just have them fall down through the update suppress portal instead of spending the time to sort of launch them in a way over here like this, so they just get a little bit more fun with the processing part of the blaze. So just to take a step away from just caring about the rates, 100% about everything, and make it a little bit more fun for yourself, so a little bit more enjoyable than just really caring about all the rates for it. You can see here the issue that I'm running into is the fact that I use these panes to get them close enough to the player, but at the same time, now the blaze rods now drop on top of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a waterlogged stair, I think, right there. That way the armor stand still stays at that level, but the water will also be able to flow around there. I make use of this layered snow right here. I think it's like 6 layers, if I remember correctly, maybe 5. This allows them to get pushed over the snow. Even with the slime block running into, you can see they get pushed over it, but it makes it a little bit harder for them to get back up, because of course you don't one-shot the blazes, even with strength 2 and another right sword sharpness 5, you don't one-shot them, so that you have a chance, like you see these ones up here, to go up. That's supposed to limit them from going up and back over, which you don't want. And I have the glass up top here to sort of try to limit them, but of course with knockback and all that kind of stuff, regular sword knockback, you can see them getting pushed back against it, even though the sword that I have here does not have knockback on it. You can see they get pushed back into the back block there, even though there is no knockback on that sword, unfortunately. So therefore I can't guarantee that these blazes will drop down, but eventually over time, if you just see us all there, they will stop levitating and fall to the ground, which they do, but it's not ideal if you really care about the rates, like I said. But this is a whole kind of fun process to kind of not really just care about the rates, but to have a little bit more fun in the processing. Kind of like we do with the TNT looting for the gas farm. The same kind of issue, or the same thing, where we actually down excel them down into the processing area, not just letting them fall or use the TNT looting, just to have a bit of fun away from everything else. Everything here gets packed into 2 8x shulker box loaders on either side to keep up with the blaze rods that go to either side, of course. And we will get some heads, but that's, of course, that's perfectly fine. I guess because all these blaze rods are getting stuck here, we're not getting a shulker box yet. So what I'm going to do is turn the farm off, put a stair there, a waterlogged stair, and then we will make sure it's working fine then. But of course, that was something we can do in between episodes, and it's a quick fix. So, yeah, if you definitely want to see Ajvej's farm originally, down in the description down below, I will have a link down there, of course, which also includes the schematics and everything like that for the farm and everything like that, and Ajvej's included overworld processing chamber. But yeah, the full farm here is inside our blaze perimeter decoration, which you may have seen in the ending of one of my previous episodes, where I did basically an intro against that wall right there. Don't know why there's a donkey in the perimeter. Ask this remembers because, yeah, I didn't really do too much with this. You may have seen we also did it in a ocean, just because that was determined by our exit location from the Nether. So unfortunately, we had to basically make an ocean perimeter for this, which was one of the worst things to do for trying to do a speedrun for it. So basically nullified the speedrun, because that was not going to happen at all with a ocean-based perimeter. But yeah, all good. Everything's all working, and the castle looks absolutely amazing for this blaze decoration. We do have voxel map back installed, so I can show you what it actually looks like on the map view, which perfectly goes well with this castle based off where these top and bottom parts of the castle here go. So I am definitely very, very satisfied with how this area turned out. So yeah, that's it. That's everything. Make sure you like, subscribe, all those sorts of things, and I'll see you in the next one.